Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to say, and wonders to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And Yahweh to my fellow laborers out there, Tofulet, this young brother here, Shemash Wan. And I want to just touch on a little bit of history here inside the scriptures. So this is the book of Daniel, chapter 8, and I really want to touch on the main point. Is going into Daniel 8 and 8 about the he-goat. It's Alexander the Freak, and how he came down upon the Medo-Persian Empire with choler. And I'm just going to explain all that and what that means, but I'm going to build a base first. I'm just going to start at the top. This book of Daniel, the 8th verse 1. In the third year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared unto me, even unto me Daniel, after that which appeared unto me at the first. And I saw in the vision, and it came to pass, when I saw the shushan in the palace, which is in the province of Elam, was so-called East Indians today, right? And I saw in the vision, and I was by the river Ulai, which those are what those Elamites are. Elamites are East Indians today. Verse 3, and this is still, when he's talking about, this is still in Babylonian rulership. So this is prophecy, because it's still in the reign of King Belshazzar. Let's go check something out real quick. Okay. So yeah, this vision happened while Babylon was securely in power. Though the vision will deal with the emergence and destiny of the Greek Empire was not so much of anything at the time during the prophecy, when the prophecy came to Daniel. Which that's not exactly true. They were around. They just, those Edomites didn't take power yet. That was something that's supposed to come down later on. Alright? So, that's pretty much it. So this is all prophecy, what we're reading here. Verse 3, then I lifted up my eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns. The 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came at last. So 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher one came at last. So the one that was higher is the Median Empire. The Median Empire was actually higher than the Persians, but it was set up by the Lord for the higher one, the Medians, to be taken down by the Persians. Let's get a quick article. This is Ducksters.com. Kind of a goofy little site, but everything here checks out. Biography of Cyrus the Great. This is ancient Mesopotamia, which that means between the rivers. I don't know how to say it in Hebrew. It's like that region between the Tigris and Euphrates. But, this is all about, Cyrus here in the land of Persia, which that's Elamite land. Cyrus the Great was born around 580 BC in the land of Persia, which is today in the country of Iran, exactly. His father was Cambyses, the first of Anshan. There's a lot of recorded history on the early life of Cyrus, but there is a legend told by the Greek historian Herodotus, which we're not really going to talk about, but it's like a legend that Cyrus was the grandson of a Median king, which that would really make him a Mede, but I don't really know, man. I don't really care either. I don't want to look into all that, Around the age of 21, Cyrus took over the throne as king of Anshan. At this time, Anshan was still a vassal state to the Median Empire. You see, the Median Empire was first, up top. Cyrus led a revolt against the Median Empire, and by 549, he had completely conquered Media. He now called himself the king of Persia, which the Medians are Japhites. And those Japhites, they originally had control over Persia. Then the Lord set up Cyrus to go revolt, and then he took over Media, and this is the beginning of the Medo-Persian Empire, which you can read about how this did come to pass 100%. Let's go get it. let's see here. We'll start from the top. Exodus chapter 1, verse 1. Now it came to pass in days of Ahasuerus, which is Xerxes, Saint Xerxes from 300. This is Ahasuerus from, this is Ahasuerus, which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 107 and 20 provinces. So the Persian Median Empire, the Medo-Persian Empire had 127 provinces. And in those days, when the king Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan, the palace, in the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all the princes and his servants, the power of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of the provinces being before him. Okay, so the power of Persia and Media, because he had like a joint rulership, Persia was at the top, you know? So that proves that came to pass. This is the book of Daniel chapter 8, verse 4. I saw the ram pushing westward, northward, and southward, so that no beast might stand before him. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, but he did according to his will and became great, because the Persian Media Empire became very, very great. And you see about that in that movie 300, man. They had a lot of military, a lot of troops, a lot of forces. You know, it was madness to go against the Persian Empire, which those Spartans are jakes. The East is not mentioned because the Medo-Persian Empire was situated in the East, exactly. In modern day Iran, neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. The empire was too strong at that time, exactly. And as was considered, behold, the he group came from the west on the face of the whole earth, touched not the ground, and the goat had a noble horn between his eyes. Alright, and that came from the west on the face of the whole earth. As it's talking about from Greece. You know, that's where they came out of, from Macedon. And the whole he goat and the notable horn is Alexander the Freak, or Alexander the Greek. You know? And he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the furious power, because very pissed. Let's continue reading. And I saw him come closer to the ram. He was moved with choler, and smote the ram, and brake his 2 horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground and stamped upon him. And there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Alright, so Alexander the Freak came with choler. You know, his military came with choler against the Persian Median Empire. Alright, and he was moved with choler. Now let's see what choler means. I just clicked the word. It says, they think this is correct, marar, to be bitter, show bitterness, embitter oneself, to be enraged. You know, so Alexander the Free came with rage against the Persian Median Empire. Now when you read this, you should ask, well, why did Alexander the Free come with rage against the Persian Median Empire? This is Wikipedia, Achaemenid Macedonia, which Achaemenid was a Persian rulership. The Achaemenid Macedonia refers to the period in time in which the ancient Greek's kingdom of Macedonia was under the sway of Achaemenid Persians in 512 to 511 BC, circa, which means about. The Persian general Megabazius forced the Macedonian king Amyntius the first to make his kingdom a vassal of the Achaemenids. So these Edomites, man, these Macedonians, they were originally servants to the Persians, and so when the Lord rose up Alexander the Greek, Alexander came back with that rage to, you know, attack him, you know, to attack the Persian means to smote that ram and take out the Persian Media Empire. And that's pretty much the point on that one. Let me see here. Where are we? Okay, we're doing all right with time. We can skip that. We're gonna go to the first Maccabees. Actually, we just start from the top. First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 1, and it happened after that Alexander the son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, which is Greece, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece. So, you see that once again. Smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, and reigned in his stead, the first over Greece. And this Darius is a specific Darius, which we're going to go ahead and get. Let's see here. Okay. Let's see which one we want to start off with. I think this one's a good one. So this is from worldhistory.org, www.worldhistory.org. Battle of Gaugamela. The Battle of Gaugamela, October 1st, 331 BCE, also known as the Battle of Arbela, was the final meeting between Alexander the Greek, Alexander the Great, so-called Great, and Macedonian King Darius III of Persia. After this victory, Alexander was out questioned the king of all Asia. Gaugamela means the camel's house. The camel's house was the village on the banks on the river Bamodis. The site of the battle is thought to be. I'm not even gonna bother trying to say that, but that's that Yiddish bullshit. Tel Gomel, which that's not Hebrew, that's the Yiddish bullshit. Camel's Mount in northern Iraq. I'm not gonna bother trying to find that in Hebrew and look for it, but I know Gamal means Hebrew, not Gomel. The fuck is that, man? There's no E's in the Hebrew. I wanted to get some extra info. So here's the aftermath. Because you read about Darius, Alexander smote him. It doesn't mean that he killed Darius, the king of the Persians. He just beat him and he defeated his military. So here's Wikipedia, Battle of Gaugamela, aftermath. After the battle, Parmenion rounded up the Persian baggage train while Alexander's bodyguard pursued Darius. As it Issus, substantial loot was gained, with 4,000 talents captured, the king's personal chariot and bow and the war elephants. So he had a lot of loot Alexander took. It was disastrous defeat for the Persians and one of Alexander's finest victories. Darius managed to escape by horseback with a small core of his forces remaining intact. The backtrained cavalry and Bessus caught up with him, which backtrained, those are Edomites also, I'm pretty sure, but you can read up about them. They call them, this article said they're like Elamites, like Indian, so-called Indian, but that's Elam. But I'm not going to sit here and look all the way into every little detail here, man. So the backtrained cavalry, which is Darius's troops, Darius III's, okay, not Darius, the father of Xerxes, not that one, alright? This is Darius III, okay? So, just want to make sure that's clear for you brothers, that you don't think it's the same guy. So the backtrained cavalry and Bessus caught up with him, as did some of the survivors of the royal guard and 2,000 Greek mercenaries, because that's what he had. He had Greek mercenaries too. That's why you read here, and it says, let's see here, but he did according to will and became great. The Persian Empire became very, very strong. They had lots of Greek mercenaries. They had troops. They had a lot of men, well trained, so on and so forth. But the Lord still set it up for Alexander the Great to take his ass down. So at this point, the Persian Empire was divided into two halves, east and west. On his escape, Darius gave a speech to what remained of his army. He planned to head further east and raise another army to face Alexander, assuming that the Greeks would head towards Babylon. At the same time, he dispatched letters to his eastern satraps asking them to remain loyal. The satraps, however, had other intentions. Bessus murdered Darius before fleeing eastwards, which Bessus was, let's see if we can find out. It's one of his, okay, let's see here. Bessus. Okay, this is his relative. I think it's also one of his generals as well. Let's see here, Bessus. He was a satrap of Bactria. So not his general, just a satrap. Bessus. He was a Persian satrap of the Eastern Achaemenid satrapy of Bactria, so on and so forth. But I'm not gonna really read into this. You can read more about the history for yourself. But Darius III was betrayed. There you go. Bessus murdered Darius before fleeing eastwards. When Alexander discovered Darius murdered, he was saddened to see an enemy he respected killed in such a fashion. and gave Darius a full burial ceremony in Persepolis, the former ceremonial capital of the Persian Empire, before angrily pursuing Bessus, capturing and executing him the following year. The majority of the remaining satraps gave their loyalty to Alexander and were allowed to keep their positions. The Achaemenid Persian Empire is traditionally considered to have ended with the death of Darius. So, that's it. Go on, you're edified. Till next time I say, Shalom.